about cooking without talking about the Instant Pot, right? The Instant Pot has seen a huge surge in popularity for a number of reasons. Number one, it's affordable. Number two, it's easy to use. And number three, it's so much faster than regular cooking. So how does it work? Well, with regular cooking, you're coming from a singular heat source. Let's talk about doing something on the stove. You're heating something just from the bottom. And so what you have to do is you heat, and then you flip it over, because that heat on the other side just kind of dissipates. With the Instant Pot, it traps the heat and steam inside because of the pressure. Because it has nowhere to go, it's forcing pressure and heat all around that food, which means that the food gets cooked on all sides with even heat all the way through in a shorter amount of time. Who doesn't want that? One of my favorite things to cook in the Instant Pot? Oh God, so many. So I do love doing soups in here. I love stews. I especially love a big roast because those things take hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And in here, it takes so much less time. Today, we're going with one of my favorite Indian recipes. It is butter chicken. I love the heartiness, the flavors in here. They're so rich and robust, and the spices they're just kind of sexy. And I will be serving that with naan or maybe some cauliflower rice. I don't know, I'll get frisky with it. But let's get started. So here's the spread of ingredients that we're gonna use for today's butter chicken. My favorite part of making this dish is I feel like a scientist because I've got all these amazing spices. So I will show you them one by one. You've got coriander, you have paprika, you've got turmeric, you have garam masala, there is cumin, oh gosh, black pepper, salt, and of course a little bit of heat in your cayenne pepper. We're also using chicken thighs today, and I'm tripling this recipe for a couple reasons. Number one, it is part of our meal prep, and number two, I always like to save some for my mom and Sean's mom so that everybody gets to eat. I'm also going to be using some tomato sauce. This is my favorite thing. If you have not found this yet, y'all, if you do a lot of Asian cooking, you love those spices, this minced ginger, I got this at Sprouts. I mean, the pre-minced, it's fantastic. And of course, a ton of onions and garlic. What we're gonna start with is chopping up our onions. I caught my knife. And I think there are so many urban legends out there of how to not cry when chopping onions, and I think they're all lies. Just saying. So I've chopped up these 3 onions, and I'm still alive. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the Instant Pot to do the sauteing, and that's one of the best things about the Instant Pot. It has seriously like 8,000 functions. Okay, maybe 7 or 8. I really use maybe 3 of them. So today we're gonna start sauteing the onions in the Instant Pot. That's the beauty of it. It is literally one pot cooking. So let's get started with that. Okay, so I tried to get an aerial view so you could see what's going on in the pot, and behind me, you can see all of our herbs, and we're gonna work on the herb garden, so we're gonna try and make a video for that. Now the Instant Pot has a saute function. Basically, you get to saute directly in the pot. Oh, I can't touch this, but the Instant Pot, when you buy it, it comes with a stainless steel. I highly, highly, highly recommend getting this. This is the non-stick, and I've got an 8-quart Duo, which was the best thing ever because, you know, cooking for family, a 3-quart is not gonna cut it. So I've added a little bit of olive oil to this, and now I'm going to put in all of that gorgeous onion. You can hear it sizzle. I'm gonna saute these onions until they're translucent, and that's gonna take about 6 to 7 minutes. Sean always makes fun of me when I say translucent. What's wrong with how I say translucent? Some recipes you'll find that people add the spices afterwards when everything is together, but there's a reason that I like to put the spices before anything, and I give it some heat, and that is that the heat allows the spices to bloom. There's natural oil in the spices, and bringing out that heat early really causes the flavors to deepen. So these onions have been going for about a minute, and I'm about to put in all of the spices that you saw earlier. Our onions have cooked down nicely, and to this, I'm gonna add the garlic. Oh, God, I can't open it. And our minced ginger. I'm adding an extra because I really like the flavor of ginger.
Here.
Okay, there. So the onions have been going for about a few minutes. So we have the onions, the garlic, the gingers all in here, and it is all, let's take a little, you see that? It's hot. Yeah, it's hot. So this is what it looks like up close. You can see that everything is kind of, oops, melted down into each other. And what I love about the pot is it's all happening in here. So I'm gonna reach for my chicken. Oh my heavens. So as you, I'm gonna have to put you down, okay? No. Stand, okay? You stand. So we're taking all the chicken. It's okay, it's okay. We've got and we're putting it directly into the pot. There you go. I'm right here. So I am going to saute this directly in the pot. And all I want to do is get a good brown on the chicken. It doesn't have to be cooked all the way through because that's going to happen when the magic happens, when I seal the pot. We've had the chicken on saute for a few minutes now, and really you don't have to cook it all the way through. Like I said, you just want to make sure that the outside is no longer pink. And to this, you simply add your tomato sauce. I'm gonna give all of that a really good stir. I'm gonna make sure that my pot is no longer on saute. So I'm just gonna cancel that. I've given everything a good stir. I've made sure that all the spices from the bottom are up at the top. Everything is mixed together beautifully. All the chicken is coated. And you can see that the 8-quart pot is almost to the fill line. So I get my top and my lid, because obviously I have my top on. And we are going to put this on. Seriously, that's like the trickiest part of the Instant Pot, is just getting this stinking thing on the top. And here you can see this is where you really want to focus. You've got your valve here. So it says venting and sealing. Make sure that it is always at sealing. And as it comes to pressure, this little button here is going to pop up. And that's how you know that you don't want to touch it. Once it comes down, that's when you want to open it back up. So you can see that this red is down. Now different models have different valves, so make sure you read the make and model of yours. And I am going to set this now on pressure cook for 8 minutes. 8 minutes! Yes, just 8 minutes. Now don't be fooled, it's not like it's gonna go boom, in 8 minutes you're done, because it has to come to pressure first. And that takes anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes, but it will cook for 8 minutes, and then we'll talk about release then. So at the end of this, the Instant Pot's doing its thing. It's still coming to pressure. So again, it takes about 5 to 10 minutes to come to pressure. So while that's happening, what I'm gonna do is I am going to chop up the bell pepper. The bell pepper will go into the buttered chicken once it's done, because you don't want it to cook with the chicken in the Instant Pot, or else it will basically disintegrate. So all we're gonna do is chop it up. Okay, so we are all done. The 8 minutes is up. I'm gonna hit cancel on this, and I'm gonna do a quick release, which simply means I'm gonna open the vent. So remember, the steam coming out it's steam, it's hot. So turn it to venting and let it do its thing. We talked about the little red doohickey. Wait till that goes down. So I'm gonna quick vent, quick release. Okay, so quick release took about a minute or so, and you can see that it is still bubbling in here. Now I did turn it off, but I am gonna turn it back on to saute, and the reason I'm doing that is we're not done. Give this a good stir, and to this you're gonna add your chopped bell peppers. That's gonna give it a sweetness, a great texture, a nice crunch to it. And the recipe calls for really as much bell pepper as you would like. So some people like a lot, some people like a little. I'm a fan of bell pepper, So I'm gonna put quite a bit in there. So again, this is on saute, and I'm just gonna let it cook down until the bell peppers are at the texture that I like, which is kind of like pasta, al dente. The green peppers have cooked down really nicely in this, and the flavors have really developed, and now it's my final touches. Last thing we're gonna add to this is a little bit of heavy cream. And what that does is it just makes it gorgeous and rich. And just mix that in. Garnish with cilantro, and you are ready to serve. And I would never, give you a recipe without really tasting it first. So here's our dish. There is our buttered chicken and our gorgeous naan bread. That's so good. So the flavors are fantastic because in the Instant Pot, they've really melded through the pressure and the heat. And I can serve this with cauliflower rice or brown rice or with the naan bread. Well, in the meantime, I'm gonna enjoy. The chicken is so tender and the bell peppers are just the right texture. So happy cooking, and I will catch you next time. Bye.